welcome back. My name's Dan, and in the last video we dropped in some software instruments and we recorded some MIDI notes into our track. The track isn't sounding particularly great, but we do have some MIDI notes in, and what we're going to do in today's video is go in and edit these MIDI notes so that they fit a bit nicer with our song, right? So this is what we ended up with after the last lesson. Yeah, so we've got drums, we've got the piano chords, and we've got this little shaker thing coming off the drums. So one, I know straight away that the shakers aren't in time. So what I'm going to do is go in and we're going to edit these shaker MIDI notes so that they are in time. Okay, so the video is essentially about editing MIDI data. So once you've recorded your MIDI data into the region here, so if I haven't already mentioned in previous videos, these are called regions. So even in the audio, this is an audio region, this is a MIDI region, and so on. Okay, so just to go over the difference once more between audio and MIDI data. So audio is an actual sound wave, where we talked about audio files in a previous video. So this is a pre-recorded sound wave. Yeah, so that's audio data. Yeah, MIDI data, however, is different. So MIDI data is more of a sort of coded data, and within the data lies what pitch and duration of note. So you can have short notes, you can have long notes. For example, if I make this note short, you can have short notes, long notes. So yeah, so MIDI data is kind of information passed from either a MIDI keyboard or any other sort of MIDI instrument that sends data to the computer. Yeah, so when I hit my MIDI keyboard, it's sending information from the keyboard saying that this is a C and I'm holding the note down, and then when I release, the MIDI information is sent. But that MIDI information then goes into the software instrument and generates noise. Okay, so that's what I mean when I say editing MIDI data. So for this drums, for example, for these shakers, I recorded in that using my MIDI keyboard. So let's get into editing the MIDI data. If we double click the region, we can see all of the individual times I pressed the keyboard down, and you can see them there. And obviously, because I am a human being, these notes are not on the grids, So what we want to be seeing really with these grids is notes lining up, and then that's going to keep everything in time nice and tight. So at the minute, I'm way out of time there with these. So we've opened up the region by double clicking, just to clarify that again. Now we can see our notes. Now, one of the functions we can do is called quantize. And what that means is it's going to take all of the selected notes and it's going to try and snap them onto the nearest grid line that it sits next to, we can set the divisions of the grid lines here. So it's called quantize, and this is where we actually quantize our notes over here in this section. So time quantize classic, you're looking for that. Okay, so if I want to quantize all of these notes, I'm going to draw a box around all of the individual notes, and then my note divisions are set to 16th notes at the minute, and I won't change it, I'll leave it there. That's the one you're probably going to want to be using when you're starting out, but as you start to understand note divisions better, then you may want to utilize different quantize factors. But for now, 1 over 16 is great. It just means it's going to put these notes on the nearest 16th note division. Yeah, so 16th notes is fine. And then if you want to actually quantize all these notes, then you press the Q button. Yeah, so you may have just noticed they all shifted. Oh, if I Command Z. Yeah, so pay attention to these notes here. I press Q and they've all shifted onto some sort of grid. So now we get this. It's actually not too bad. Yeah, so I've just quantized my shaker notes so that they now fit better and more in time with the drums. So let's go to the piano. See the piano? I just click the region with the piano MIDI notes sit, and I can bring this up and I can take a look at these piano notes now. So I can zoom in, I can go left and right here down in this MIDI area, and you want to be zooming in because, as you can see, if you look here, it looks like we're bang on the line there, but if I zoom right in, you quite clearly see that we are quite behind the line. So what I can do is I can stretch these MIDI notes out so that they sit on the line. Rather than quantize them, you can do it manually like so. Yeah, so then these four are clearly off the line as well, so I'm just going to press quantize on these. That's going to snap them in. Amazing. And then these are my treble notes. I can grab all of these. If I quantize these, they're on the grid as well. And now let's just hear how this sounds. Yeah, so you can hear straight away, guys, I've quantized my MIDI notes within my MIDI regions, and that's kind of cleaned up this little loop quite a lot, actually. It actually sounds like an actual loop now. So yeah, that's one thing you can do with the MIDI, is the quantize feature. Okay, guys. So obviously, if you want, oh, bear with me. You can edit your MIDI notes however you'd like down here in this MIDI section as well. So for right now, I've just quantized notes that are already in there that I've recorded. So let's say I want to put my own MIDI notes in. So just like we have our command tools up here, we have our command tools down in this bottom editor section as well. Okay, so just be aware that they're there. There's a whole bunch of different things we can change. What I'm going to do is, yeah, select the pencil tool. So that means when I press command, I'm going to get a pencil. Pencil allows me to draw in notes on the MIDI roll here. So, excuse me, say if I wanted to add in a couple of notes to this MIDI roll, I could go. Yeah, let's put a little note in there. Maybe stick it there. Yeah, so you can hear what's going on, and you can add more notes with the pencil. You can grab and shift these left to right, up and down. So basically, you know, you have a full scale of choice and range of what it is you want to do with these MIDI notes. So you know, you can make it as simple or as complicated as you want, but just know they can be moved. They can be moved left and right, up and down. They can be shrunk and extended for, you know, longer held periods. And one thing I'll tell you about in this video is the velocity settings. So right now, bottom left, the velocity is set to 53, and that's what that sounds like. If I raise the velocity of these notes up to 97, or I think 97, yeah, so you can hear, you can go up to 127. So you can hear the velocity difference. You know, it's just playing these notes louder now. So be aware of that. It's good to change your velocity as much as you can between notes, so that it doesn't sound too repetitive and robotic. You know, different velocities in MIDI notes is what gives a sort of realism in the sound of how they play out. So be aware of that velocity settings, guys, down here in the bottom left. If I want to change the velocity of all of these notes, I can drag, change the velocity. If I want to change the velocity of a single note, I just click on the single note, up the velocity, and then it does that there. And if you want to see that in action, you can press, yeah, you can press these three little dots and lines here, and you can just see what's going on with the velocities underneath. Okay, we'll go into a deeper dive on that in a later video, but for now I just wanted to show you basic MIDI editing. Yeah, so that's basic moving MIDI notes and quantizing and a little bit about velocities there. Okay, we'll do velocities at a later date in more detail, but hopefully, yeah, that's helped you to sort of at least get inside the MIDI region and do a bit of editing. Okay, so yeah, hope that helps. See you on the next video, guys.